It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for tonight. I'm sure you've heard who it is, but if you don't know, he's the associate head track coach here at DePaul, Colt Slack. It's truly a blessing to be able to have him here at FCA. He spoke multiple times. I just remember each time leaving feeling both encouraged and convicted in my faith. And so just really excited to be able to have him here again. And it's been such a blessing in my life. If you ever need anything, truly just come talk to him. He's just an amazing resource and a mentor in the faith. And so without further ado, Coach Slack.
Thanks, Juice Man. I appreciate that. So, did anyone have any luck getting a friend to come here? Someone texted you? True story? So I made my rounds out here in like the little foyer. I tried to get some extra folks so people had no idea who I was. But I said, hey, come to FCA. And people acted like they didn't know what I was talking about. Or they weren't Christians. Like, you don't have to be a Christian. Like, you can still come to FCA. So I'm in the trenches with you guys. I want you to know that. Real quick, I just want to get started with first of all, if you're on the track team, I freaking love you guys. Awesome, phenomenal having you guys out here. And if you're not on the track team, I still love you guys as well. But the track team is a little bit extra special to me. We're actually doing this 2-day meet right now, and so half our team is actually traveling. Otherwise, there might be a few extra tracksters here, but that's okay. I know they're with us in spirit, which is pretty cool. But over the last week or two, I'm also breaking public speaking rule number 1, which is don't chew gum. I'm chewing gum, so you all have to bear with me, and I'm not in class, so it'll all work out. But super encouraged by your guys' faith. I'm hearing of Bible studies happening, and off times I'm hearing of this group continuing to meet together, which is, I know that this group has probably been cut in half. I think the first time I was here in August, there was 108. I want to say it was a record or something like that. Regardless of that, this is still a pretty big group. But I want you to know whether you've been consistent, whether you haven't been consistent, whether you're here to hear from me. Hopefully, you didn't just come here for me because there's obviously something bigger than me. I'm just here to talk about it. But really encouraged by you guys. Continue to come to this. We have 6 weeks left of school. Does that sound about right? You got 6 weeks left, right? It is so easy to fall off, right? It's so easy to get consumed by homework. It is so easy to get consumed by friendships, or let's face it, our sports. There's a lot of stuff going on with sports and with traveling and things like that. Don't let this become optional. Don't let this be the thing that falls off. I talked to several of you that came in the door tonight. Oh, I'm so tired. Or, oh, I'm just struggling. Or, oh, it's been a really tough week. You all know my story about public education. I'm an idiot. So you guys literally blow my mind. You tracksters, because I see you every day, you guys balance things. You balance your homework, you balance class, you balance your friends, you balance all sorts of stuff. And it's really just so inspiring to just watch you guys day in and day out. So don't put this on the back burner, because this is literally, when it all breaks down, this is the most important thing. And not this group itself, but your faith, the Lord, that is the most, that transcends everything that you are going through on a daily basis, and that's the truth. I used to always say that my dream, which it still is my dream, is to coach at a university that is not a Christian affiliated university, right? That's DePaul. We're not associated with Christianity really. Maybe loosely a long time ago, I think maybe we're connected with the Methodist Church somewhere along the lines, but that doesn't exist anymore. And so I literally, when people are oh, I'm living the dream, this is exactly what I foresaw myself doing when I was sitting in your shoes, which was 13 to 15 years ago when I was in college. Just a thought about being in this place right now is just so full circle and so strange and so weird, and it's only of God, just crazy stuff. And I won't get into testimonial stuff necessarily, but it's just so cool to be here. I have 3 boys. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old tonight. And typically Friday night is movie night. It's dollar store night. Get candy. That's why we go to the dollar store. We get dollar store candy runs. We have movies. We go out to dinner. We do a lot of stuff. I gave up that night to be here, right? So, and to me, I know it's not Friday, but guess what? I'm leaving tomorrow for a week for Friday. So tonight became our movie night and our candy night. And so this literally means so much to me. just to be able to speak to you about the Lord, because that's not something that I get to do in like my daily, like in practice. You all know, like it's not like, hey, let me tell you a little bit about Jesus. But if I were coaching, that is exactly what I would be doing, is telling people a little bit about Jesus. And so, super grateful to be here. So you all know, like last time I talked, if you were here, like I always like try to figure out like, what is an 18 to 22-year-old? Like I know it seems like my team tells me I'm old all the time, in fact, which that is all true. But it is kind of weird, like being in your mid-30s, like I feel like I'm in this weird phase of life where it's like I'm still kind of like in the know, but I'm outgrowing the know, and I like shorts that go past my knees, which you guys know, like just all this, like I'm still like kind of cool but not cool, and so I always like, what the heck do I talk about? And so I'll ask Grant, like, Grant, what do I talk about? I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about. And I go home and I'm like, I ask Shelby, I ask my wife, like, man, what is like a 20-year-old? Like, what should I talk to a 20-year-old about? She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, this is freaking awesome. Like, I guess I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants. So I have some bullet points for you. Hopefully this impacts you. I hope you leave here. Truthfully, I really hope that you leave here, and I hope you leave changed. Like, you have an option to make to change and to leave here different or inspired, or to turn a page. Like maybe you've been struggling with the battle, maybe there's an addiction, maybe you guys have no idea what people that act so Krispy Kreme on the outside, like what people are dealing with on a daily basis. And so there's a million and one things that you can be dealing with. And so I truly hope that you leave here at least questioning, what do I believe, right? Like if you are a Christian, great. If you're not a Christian, maybe this will inspire you to kind of like, man, maybe there's something about this. The thing about like it should exude from you. Like if you don't have this overpowering joy that you wake up in the morning and you are just filled with this like burst of like refreshing, it doesn't matter what happens throughout this day. Like I know that I have a relationship with God and nothing else, truthfully, nothing else matters, right? So hopefully, I know it's March Madness, I know a lot of phones are out, hopefully can we put a pause on that? Who could even say that the Sweet 16 of last year? Probably no. You could? No. Yeah. Who could even literally say, like maybe some of you could. The point of it is this weekend is going to be an absolutely jack diddly dump here next year. Like no one is going to remember any of these teams. So let's just put the phones down, let's enjoy it, because this can change your eternity, and that's real. So, I thought about, should I share my testimony? I shared my testimony, I think, the very first FCA, but that was like close to 2 years ago, so I don't know how many of you even remember that or know that. I thought about talking about just like God's grace and just how his unmerited favor that is just mind-blowing and so awesome. Thought about like perseverance, getting near the end of the semester. Some of you, how many of you are seniors? Any of you seniors in this room? I know, sad, I'm telling you, it's really sad. I know being an athlete and being done, it's whether you're an athlete or not, just being a senior in general, like just life change is really, really hard. And then I got to thinking, this whole thing, asking Grant, what do I talk about? Asking my wife, what do I talk about? Blah, 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 do I do this, do I that? Man, the entire Bible is applicable. Like we were kind of joking today about, I can't even remember who it was, someone was talking about, you should talk about Jesus wept. Just do that scripture of like those two words. Like that literally is a sermon in itself. And you could talk for an hour on that, just the emotion that Jesus actually had. It's crazy. So here's what I decided to talk about, being satisfied in Jesus, right? Being absolutely 100% satisfied, fulfilled, need no additional extras from the outside world. Jesus is enough, and so that's what we're going to kind of roll with tonight. So let me quick pray us in, and hopefully we'll get rolling. God, thank you so much for this night. Thank you so much for this Thursday night in March that this group of 50, 55 young people can get together. God, you are here. You are in this small place on the campus at DePaul University. You see us, you hear us, you feel us, you want us. And God, I ask that you would just speak through me, help these young people to leave here different, impacted, and myself too, like that we would not be here the same, that we would be encouraged and fulfilled and take on this next day and into our futures with you by our side. In Jesus' name, amen. I've kind of talked a little bit about this stuff before, but all of you probably know Bill Gates. Bill Gates, and he was interviewed one time, and they were talking about, you've made so much money, and you've got everything you possibly want. when will you be satisfied? And his response, does anyone know his response? It'll be my next million, right? So like this pursuit of just money, like I'll be really, like I've got everything, I've done everything, I've made all this money and I'm richer than rich, but I'll be happy my next million. I talked about this a little bit too, about the whole Tom Brady story. I think I might have talked about this. Maybe that was in the fall or maybe that was last year, I can't really remember. I talked about the Tom Brady thing, right? At this point, I don't know, has he won 7 championships, I think, at this point, or he's retired, he's old, he's faker than fake, he's got Botox, everything else going on with his life. You just look at him like the dude, like you watch this guy on screen, it's like, what happened to freaking Tom Brady? He just looks so weird, he's like a skeleton with makeup. Nothing against Tom Brady, but after his 6th championship, he got like 6 rings, he had 6 trophies, and he's being interviewed, and some of you probably remember this. Now, I might butcher this a little bit, but you'll get the gist of the story was, you know, like, hey, you've got all these rings, you've got all these trophies, you've done it all, like, you know, isn't that really cool? He's like, yeah, but there's got to be something more, was basically his response. Like, I've done it all, I've had success, everyone knows my name, and it's still like there's this inner empty spot that literally that can't be fulfilled by anything other than the Lord. And I don't know what Tom Brady's faith is, I don't know what he believes in, I have no idea, never will know that, none of us probably will. But to me, I kind of think like that's just sort of sad that like the one thing that you can be fulfilled by, like you probably don't have it, it doesn't sound like. And so, so, you know, we search for satisfaction in so many things, and I think the first thing is we're born into it, right, is our family and friends, right? Like so oftentimes, we look for fulfillment in the people that are around us, right? So obviously mom and dad, or brother or sister, so on and so forth, like your identity becomes like your lineage, right? So like I'm a Slack, and my family does this, and we're strong at this, and we're gifted at this, and my dad did this, and this, and this, and this, and this, right? And so you try to be fulfilled by the love that your parents can give you, or friendship, right? Why do we have friends, right? It's we want to be acceptable, we want to identify with people. And here's what the Bible has to say about that, which is all good. Like you should want to have good friends, and you should want to like be a part of a good family, and all that stuff is really, really good in and of itself. But here's what the Bible has to say. Luke 21:16. This is what the Lord says about just friends and family. You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. So that's kind of like going down this different path. That's just kind of a piece of it. But let's go back to movie night at the Slack household tonight. So I left right in the middle of Mufasa. What a weird show, by the way. Like I don't know how like appetized I was in it, or like there's a whole group of like these white. Have you guys ever seen there's like this white lion traps? What's going on with Disney right now? But anyways, I'm not saying you shouldn't watch it, but it is kind of like out in the woods a little bit. I was struggling trying to figure out what the heck is Mufasa and all this stuff. But anyways, it's the whole backstory about Mufasa and Scar. And guess what happens? Like literally, this was like before we even watched like Mufasa tonight. Guess what happens in the Lion King? There's betrayal, right? Like of own family members, of parents and things like that. And so when you seek for satisfaction in friends and family, guess what's going to happen? You 100%, there is no doubt about it, they will fail you some way, shape, or form. It happens all the time. My mom's family, I'm not going to go off to the woods on that, but like my grandma, my grandpa, my grandmother passed away a few years ago, and our family literally gets absolutely dismantled. Like I don't really have a talking relationship with them, and I hate that so much. But there was just a lot of things that you find out about human beings, and you just won't be satisfied. Right, like humans will not satisfy you, friends, family, there's a 100% chance you will not be satisfied by them. The next thing is, you know, we're all after this, right, it's money. And obviously we have to have money to survive, like that's just part of life. Like we have to buy groceries, you have to, you know, pay your mortgage, you have to pay your bills, you have to feed yourself, all of that stuff is true. Some people literally, you know, and we kind of talked about this, I think at Cracks today, there was a small group and we talked about being like a billionaire and stuff. And like the thought of money is awesome, right? Like that is great. But listen, are you gonna die one day? Yep. Who cares if you have a mansion? Who cares if you have a private jet? Who cares if you have all the jewelry in the world? Like that money, unfortunately, it's not going with us, right? And it unfortunately will not bring satisfaction. So here's what the Bible has to say about money. In Proverbs 11:4, riches do not profit in the day of wrath. Basically saying like money is not going to buy you out of wrath. Money is not going to buy you out of being on the judgment seat in front of the Lord. Like you can't work your whole life making this paycheck and just get up. You know you're dead now and I don't really know God, but hey God, I worked really really hard in life. I made a crap ton of money. I'm out into Duke. I'm going to Duke. Here's all my money. Right? This is not. big time. Now I got to do this pretty cool. All this money, it's like, hey, I'll give you this money. Doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Ezekiel 7:19, they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash. Their silver and gold won't save them on the day of the Lord's anger. Money, you can pursue it. You can have it. You can do everything you want after money, but guess what? It will not write your ticket of salvation to spend eternity in heaven with the Lord. It will not do that for you, right? So ultimately, money is going to fail you, right? And here's a big one for us, right? The next thing is, and you're all young still, so like, I'm like a step in life advanced. Like, I'm going to die before all you, hopefully. Hopefully none of you, die before me. I'm an old man, but the next thing is possessions, right? And so, this kind of ties in a little bit with money, but in a little different type of way, right? It's the possession piece. So it's, boy, I want this big old house. Or, boy, like, man, it would be really nice to have that Yukon, or it'd be really, really cool to own this island, or it would be really cool to, have all these jewelry. For you as athletes, right? Like, we have national, at least in our people, like you have national caliber athletes in this room, and pursuing a trophy, pursuing All-American awards, banners or plaques or things like that. And I hope you don't take this in a way that that this is not important. Like, this stuff is extremely important. It is what you work for, and it's a huge accomplishment, so you should want to work for those things. But having that be the end goal should not be the end all be all, right? And so, like, some of us just work and work and work for possession. And yes, at the end, that's what's going to happen when you pass away. That house, it's not going with you. The All-American trophy, it's not going with you. The really nice car, it's not going with you. All that stuff, right? So it's fleeting. The possession will not go with you. So Luke 12:15 says, "Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." This stuff is in the Bible, right? Like, this stuff is like the Lord telling us this is not going to ultimately satisfy you. The last thing, and this is probably more so than men, more than just as much as it is the women. I feel like 5 years ago this might have been a thing, but like beauty, right? And I talk about Tom Brady looking like a skeleton with makeup, which is true. Go look at the picture; it's freaking weird. The dude's a strange-looking man when you break it all down. Like 5 years ago, he was like the hottest dude that was like on, whatever those things are. But here's a good one. So Katie and Liberty, we're at the National. Strange story. Katie already knows where I'm going with it. So I walk in the bathroom. That's probably too much. So I walk in the bathroom of this in the airport, right? And there's this dude dead shirtless, like tiny little shorts, and he's in there like. So I'm walking up, oh boy, like, what are we doing here? So I'm like trying to get by, and he's got his hair, he's like putting all this water in his hair, and he's doing his hair, and he's like putting it in the dryer, and he's trying to get it to look right. I'm like, my God. Just choose a Snapchat filter by, for heaven's sake. It'll look better than what you're doing right now. But the thought of like beauty being so important to people, probably for him to like get on his Snapchat or Instagram or whatever the heck he was doing and take a picture just to post it and look like he's like this super cool, like swole dude that's got like gel slick back hair. And it's like, buddy, you're not sweating, you just dribbled water down your face. Like, people know this stuff. But beauty is something that I think so many people put so much value in, of like, oh, I'm beautiful. There was a time in the day that I didn't look fat and out of shape like I do now. It will eventually fade away, right? Like, you are going to be 80 years old, and we're all going to sag, and we're all going to be gross, and it's just how it's going to be. And you can't, track and field, you can't fake, right? There's no cheating this sport, right? You literally, the work that you put in is the outcome that you're going to get out of it. Like, no one can do it for you. The same thing is with beauty in our bodies. Like, you can't cheat it. Right? Like, you're not going to be 80 years old and live forever. You're not going to look the way that you look right now, value it, the way that you feel right now, even though some days you wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, my shins are going to fall off, my knees halfway caved in, my eyebrows not even working right, like, all of that stuff, right? Like, value it right now, because eventually it's gonna fade away. Proverbs 31, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, all right? So, here's the deal. I say all this to say this, and I know this from a personal experience, that Jesus 100% will satisfy you. When I was your age, a little bit younger than you, I was 19 when was I? I was 19 when I accepted the Lord. And so I was literally in college. And all these things, right? Like, I thought money would bring me happiness. I thought, my friends and my family would bring me happiness. I thought that maybe possessions would get me there. I thought that, my good looks, whatever, even though I'm not really that good looking, I'm an ugly dude. But all these things, I was in the same boat as all of you, right? You try to seek, you try to search, you try to find like, what is going to fulfill me. And I swear to you, out of experience, you will try all of these things, and 100% there's going to be a hole left in your heart that only gets filled by Jesus. I know I'm like, you've probably heard this before, maybe some of you have, but it is so incredibly, there's so much meaning in it that literally the only thing that will fill that void in your heart, the only thing that's going to get the job done is a relationship with Jesus. So there's in John, Jesus talks about like, some of you might know this, some of you might not, but he talks about him being the vine and us kind of being the branches, and we abide in him and we draw from him. And so in the Bible, he talks about all that stuff, and it says, I have told you, in John 15:11, I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, that your joy may be complete, that you're happy, that you're satisfied, that you can be fulfilled. It's going to be hard for you to think about this, because I'm like living this right now. But think about 20 years from now. Just think about this. Like, how old are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? Where is life going to take you? I like some of you are closing your eyes, kind of like visualizing this. Seriously, think about this. 20 years from now. I don't want to take anything from you. That's really what I'm not here to do, but I am here to like kind of beat you down a little bit and show you that like we're really not that cool at the end of the day. No one on this campus, I guess I shouldn't say no one, 99.9% of the people that will walk around this university, they're not going to know you. They're not going to know you existed. They're not going to know your name. They're not going to know your GPA, how pretty you were, how good looking you were. They're not going to know how much money you made. Like if I walked back to my alma mater, Indiana State, if I walked back and I stood on that campus, if I went to the track team that I competed on, 0 of those people, 0, none of them would know me, right? 0% of the people that go to Indiana State would know me. So I want you to think about that. That's not to like kick you down and throw you in the trash can, but I want you to think like, this right here is so temporary. What do you want to leave that lasts on forever? I hope, and I think it's still going on, I hope that I spoke to a few people when I was in school, when I found the Lord, when I was super fulfilled by the Lord, and I was and I still am, satisfied and told. I hope that that is passed down to keep moving on, right? That the legacy of the Lord Jesus transcended all the stuff, right? And that people are being impacted to this day. But seriously, think about that. This right here, enjoy it, live it up, have fun, but do not walk out of this place if you don't know Jesus and you're searching and you're looking for what is that satisfying. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like there's something that's missing. There's something that's not quite there, like 100%. And you get good grades, and you've got good internships, and you've got a great family, and you're super pretty, and you're a good-looking dude, and there's something missing, right? Like if you're one of those people, Jesus can change that literally right now. In this moment, he's here in this building, he can literally change that, and it happened to me, I know from experience. So have you found satisfaction in Jesus? That's the question. Have you been truly fulfilled by the Lord? And you'll know if it's happened. And part of that is this. Part of that is, and I shared this back in the fall, is not necessarily having a different relationship with Jesus. It's about having a different relationship with sin. You know, if you have been wiped clean and you've been made new by your relationship with sin, those parties that used to look so appealing, they kind of fade away, right? The pursuit of that friendship that you gotta have, or that boyfriend or that girlfriend, you don't have to go chase that, right? Like you don't have to go chase that stuff. But it's recognizing who you are. Because at the end of the day, I'll just say, there's no one in. I have a 2-year-old son, right? Who he loves me, I love him. Dude's a dirty rock little sinner, and so am I. If he wanted a chain on my neck, he could snatch it off my neck. I'm not even kidding you. Like, Until you have a 2-year-old, you will never know exactly. Like, that dude would literally swipe a roast beef sandwich out of my hand so he could live and I pass away. Like, that would literally happen. I'm telling you. Sinful little bugger. But that's literally our human nature. Like, that's what he was born into, and that's what he knows. And he's not doing that out of, like, something he's learned. That is literally in our human DNA of, like, you are going to take what you want for yourself, and if they don't get it, guess what happens? They cry. But recognize your sin, because I think that's a telltale of if you have really had some life change. And it only takes a moment. I mean, literally, a moment in time. Like this room right here, right now, in this moment. And I say this every time, and I bet you 2 to 3 people email me almost every single time, like, oh, this was impactful. I'm like, if that is you, my office is in this little, like, rat nest in the ITT, like right below the stairs, literally a rat nest. If you want to come down there and you want to talk, or not necessarily tonight, I'm not going back there tonight, but you know where to find me. Like, I would love to have a conversation with you if you're like, hey, that spoke to me. I want to know more about this Jesus guy, or maybe I thought I was a Christian, but boy, like, maybe I'm not, because that's a real thing too. Definitely come find me, because I would love to speak with you. The thief on the cross, right? This is how quick this can happen. So Jesus is hammered to the cross, and the thief basically, he took a moment in time. He asked for forgiveness, and Jesus said, on this day you will be with me in paradise. Here's a cool thing. So this just struck me, right? And I'm actually going to end with this, and because you guys how to get your March Madness in. But here's the thing. So we were actually talking about this today. This is just like an epiphany. This is a really cool thing. Thank you, Lord. So we talked about this. Tessa's smiling at me. She might know where I'm going with this. So we talked about this cycle. What is it called? Morals. We were talking about morals today, right? And you all, it sounds like this is like a common thing that's maybe going around. I don't know, I'm not young anymore, like I said. So there's this thing going around, right, about like this train. There's this group of people, and there's a person on. So there's a train that's going through a bridge, and you got this person on top, and you have like family underneath here, right, that's going to get absolutely demolished by this train. Or you've got a stranger that's sitting up top on this bridge, and just, boom, you can like take the stranger out or let your family die. It's like, people kind of following that? Or am I just like speaking through my teeth and you're like, what the heck is this crazy you're talking about? Does that make sense, everyone? So that's kind of like this moral thing of like, do you let the 5 people that are your closest friends, do you let them just get crushed by this train? Or do you push off a stranger and save them, right? So I don't need anyone to answer that, because we could be here all night talking about morals. I know what I would do, but I'm not going to tell you that. So here's the crazy thing, all right? This is where this all adds up, and this like fires me up, right? Because we're all in this boat. We are literally all sitting on a train track right now, right? Train is coming right down the expressway, the Ball Express, right through here. Humanity. Jesus is standing up on this bridge, and guess what God chooses to do? Do you feel it? Like, does that hit you? Like, that really makes me want to cry so bad. Like, literally, we are disgusting, and we're vile, and we're no good, and we deserve death forever. Like, literally forever. And Jesus, like, God pushed him off the freaking bridge, man, for us, for you. And all you've got to do, all that it takes, is for you to say, you know what? I accept that. Like, I am no good. I do need Jesus. I am not going to be satisfied without Jesus. Like, that happened for you. That legitimately, that happened. Like, Jesus was pushed off the gosh dang bridge for your life, right? And so you came here tonight, although you were tired, although you had homework to do. March Madness is going on, which no one's going to care about in a year, because it's going to be 16 new teams. And you chose to come here tonight, and it was purposeful, right? Like, you in yourself, and this sounds crazy, it sounds weird, you did not choose to come here tonight. God literally led you to this room, hopefully to hear this message that came out of my mouth, but it's of him. Like, Jesus wants to know you. He wants a relationship with you. He wants you to change your ways. He wants you to experience what life in the full means. And I promise you, I've experienced it, and it's so freaking worth it, right? So again, if that's you, and you want to know the Lord, like, come find me, and I'll wait around till midnight if I have to, if you want to talk more. Like, that's why I came here tonight, right, is to tell you that message. The same thing that changed my entire life when I was 19 years old, and I'll never go back. So I really, truthfully appreciate you guys letting me come here to speak tonight. I didn't really plan to actually speak that long, which is normal. I had like 5 bullet points, and this is what it turned into. And so Let me pray us out. If you want to chat, I'm here to chat. Again, thank you guys for coming. Lord, you're here, and it's obvious, it's evident, and one person, you left the 99 for the one. There's one person here that might have needed this message or still needs your love. Help them to experience you right now, right here in this moment. I would call on you. We ask that you would, I ask that you would just go before all of these students, whether it's their last go around here, the next 2 months of their college career, whether they're freshmen. God, set our paths. Help us to not look like the world. Help us to look like you. Help us to look different. Help us to look attractive, because you are attractive and you are so joyful and you are fulfillment. Help us to experience that. Help us to leave here different, not the same. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please fill out some prayer cards. We love to pray with you guys as a group. Like I said, we only have like 5 or 6 weeks of school left, so this is special that we get to pray with each other, fill these out, kind of be vulnerable with each other. So we have plenty of cards, plenty of pens, and then also we'll send a confirmation on this, but for the first time ever, we're gonna have pizza next week, so that's pretty fun. Look forward to that, and then we're gonna send out a couple more updates in the group chat. But yeah, other than that, please fill out a prayer request card and have a great weekend.
Just